Majority of the Ottoman sultans were actually sons of concubines who were usually Christian-born slaves. One such example is of a Christian girl born in Albania known as Gulbahar. Her father decided very early on to convert to Islam and join the Ottoman army. And in order to gain favor with the Sultan, he decided to give his daughter Gulbahar as a concubine to the Ottoman Sultan. And this move was not just to gain short-term favor. This was in fact a very calculated move on behalf of Gulbahar's father, a move which could pay heavy dividends if Gulbahar managed to give birth to the Sultan's son. And it could be even more profitable if that son then went on to become the next Ottoman Sultan himself. Gulbahar's father was basically aiming to be the Sultan's grandfather. Long shot, but he wanted to give it a try. Now within the Ottoman harem itself, now you have to disregard of all the Western sexual fantasies that they've made up about these harems, because that's not what these places were. They weren't sexual fantasy lands for these sultans. The harem was usually actually a hub of culture and education. The sultans themselves actually had very strict rules that they would follow while having any relationships with concubines. The main goal was to produce as many male heirs as possible, because in that day and age, infant mortality rate and mortality rate of mothers giving births as well was quite high. And even if a child doesn't die during childbirth, then there's also diseases and wars and other things which can easily take away lives. So a rule of thumb that the Ottoman sultans had was that one woman, one son. So if an Ottoman sultan has a son with a concubine, they're never to have relations again. And there were actually logical reasons for this, which we'll get into very, very soon. In the case of Gulbahar, she became the one to bear the fourth son for the Ottoman Sultan Bayezid II. The son was called Selim. In most other dynasties or other parts of the world, a fourth son would immediately know from birth that he's probably never going to get the throne, because that's usually something which is handed down to the first son. But with the Ottomans, things were different. Their inheritance laws basically allowed any heir of Osman who was able to take the throne to have the throne. Even if the Sultan favored one of his sons more than the others, in the very end, after the Sultan's demise, that mattered very little. What mattered was who can get to the throne and secure it.